This is Your Superior Self, episode 53, No Longer Living Your Life in Fear, with author Jon Gordon.
I was so full of fear that day in front of the ocean, and I was being paralyzed by it. And I knew I needed to live with faith. So I jumped in that ocean that day, basically saying, I will no longer live my life in fear. I was going to live my life in faith. I was going to go for it. I was going to create my future. I wasn't going to allow my family and my future to be put in someone else's hands. I was going to go create the reality that I wanted to create. And I finally just said, I'm done with this. I'm done with this fear. I'm done with this insecurity. I'm done with just anxiety every day. Like, that's it. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to trust.
What is going on, Superior Nation? Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Your Superior Self, the podcast that breathes inspiration into your body to help build the motivation you need to change your life. I'm Trey Downs, your host, blue-collar worker turned into blue-collar entrepreneur, and I am humbled and excited and fired up about today's guest, Mr. Jon Gordon. He is the author of one of my favorite books, The Energy Bus. And that is the book that I've decided to read from today, and the excerpt goes like this. God keeps breaking your heart until it opens. Think about it. Every struggle, every challenge, every adversity brings you closer to your heart, to your true self, to who you really are. Sometimes you've got to be broken down to the point where you feel powerless in order to discover your ultimate and true power. And this hit home for me in many different ways. And if you feel like you're in that valley of pain on your knees asking for a sign, I'm telling you, you must keep going. You have to get to the other side. Crawl if you have to, but you must endure the struggle to get to the glory. When you get to the other side of pain, that is where you will receive success. But be prepared for another battle, because they never stop. Each battle will prepare you for the next one. So in your moment of defeat, endure it. Feel it. Be in all of it, because it will make you stronger for the next one. Life is full of battles, and not with anyone in particular, but with yourself. And once you realize that, that is the first step to happiness. That is the first step in knowing that you hold the key to your happiness, to your success. It all starts with you. It all ends with you. And once you realize that, now you can start that pursuit. Whew, man, I am fired up today. I am excited that I have Jon Gordon on the show, and a quick bio on him. Jon Gordon's best-selling books and talks have inspired readers and audiences around the world. His principles have been put to the test by numerous Fortune 500 companies, professional and college sports teams, school districts, hospitals, and nonprofits. He is the author of 16 books, including 6 bestsellers that include The Energy Bus, The Carpenter, Training Camp, You Win in the Locker Room First, The Power of Positive Leadership, and his latest, The Power of a Positive Team. Jon has been featured on the Today Show, CNN, CNBC, the Golf Channel, and Fox & Friends. And some of his clients include Los Angeles Dodgers, the Atlanta Falcons, Campbell Soup, Dell, Southwest Airlines, and the LA Clippers, along with Miami Heat. I'm excited about today's interview, so without further ado, here is Mr. Jon Gordon. Jon, welcome to Your Superior Self podcast.
Hey, it's great to be with you. Thanks so much.
So you've written bestsellers, you've worked with numerous athletes and CEOs, as well as academic institutions. I want to know, how did this journey start for you?
Well, it started when I was miserable and negative, and my wife came up to me one day and she said, I love you, but I'm not going to spend my life with someone who makes me so miserable. You need to change. And I really was miserable. I was negative, and I needed to change. So I remember saying, what am I born to do? Why am I here? Why am I so miserable? And I realized I wasn't living my purpose. And I asked what that was, and writing and speaking came to me. And so I said, all right, I'm going to start writing and speaking. I mean, I couldn't just, do that and support my family, so I had to figure out a way to do that. So I second mortgaged my home, $20,000 in credit cards, and opened up a Moe's Southwest Grill burrito place. It was the first one in Florida, about the 5th or 6th store in the entire country for Moe's. And began my journey now as a restaurant owner, Moe's Southwest Grill franchise, wiping tables down every day. No one knew I was the owner. I was about 29, 30 years old, 2 small children, this close to being bankrupt. It was a scary time. And that is though what led me to do everything I do now. It really paved the way for the message I get to share, the work I get to do, and I'm just grateful for that. Your challenges are always opportunities if you're willing to learn and grow and improve from them. My dad was a New York City police officer, undercover narcotics, and so he was shot a few times. He wasn't too big on positivity, wasn't a huge fan of what I was going to do. He said, hey, just focus on your restaurant. That's what you should focus on. When I decided to pursue the writing and speaking and, sell the restaurants. But I knew I needed to sell the restaurants at that point to then do this full time. It was a leap of faith. Wasn't doing a lot of speaking, wasn't very successful at it. But when I took that leap, it led to a lot of success later on.
Why motivational speaking?
Well, I don't consider myself actually a motivational speaker. I consider myself a writer first and foremost. So I write these books, I share these principles. And what happened was people started to ask me to come speak at their events. And my publisher also said that if I wanted to get my books out there, I have to speak. And so I was forced into it. Not a huge fan of doing it in the beginning. I still like writing more to this day, but now I probably do more speaking. I definitely do more speaking now than I do writing.
Mm-hmm. So years ago, you were facing bankruptcy. You were at your breaking point. You spoke about one time standing in front of the ocean and just facing your worst moment. What experience? What was it about that experience that changed you? Why did you have this vision of living your life by positivity?
Well, I was so full of fear that day in front of the ocean, and I was being paralyzed by it. And I knew I needed to live with faith. So I jumped in that ocean that day, basically saying, I will no longer live my life in fear. I was going to live my life with faith. I was going to go for it. I was going to create my future. I wasn't going to allow my family and my future to be put in someone else's hands. I was going to go create the reality that I wanted to create. And I finally just said, I'm done with this. I'm done with this fear. I'm done with this insecurity. I'm done with just anxiety every day. Like, that's it. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to trust. And it was a spiritual moment too, because I became someone who really trusted God in that moment. And people say, yeah, it's easy for you to trust God when things in your life worked out and you have all the success. No. I didn't have that then. I had to trust God. Max Lucado says, you don't realize God is all you need until God is all you got. And I was so to the point of just being broken. I was literally at my breaking point that I was desperate. I had no other way. And so that's where I turned, finally trusting, surrendering, jumping in. And then from that moment on, my life has never been the same.
What was the vision that you had walking out of the ocean?
Well, it was just a vision of writing and speaking. It was a vision of impacting people. It wasn't to be successful. It was to inspire and encourage as many people as possible, one person at a time. So it was all about that. That became my mission statement. And I said, all right, I'm going to go out there and make a difference and impact others. And hopefully that will lead to great things, but that's what I'm going to go do. And I did about 80 free talks. It wasn't about the money. I said, hey, let me just get out there and start sharing this message. And the more I shared it, the more it led to other talks and other events, and went on a book tour, paid for myself when my first book came out, and bookstores wouldn't even carry the book. So it was really just about making a difference. And it's my message and my mission to this day.
Mm-hmm. I've watched numerous talks on YouTube with you and positivity, and you're awesome at it. I assume that at the beginning it wasn't that easy for you.
No, and I was not very good. I was. My wife even said, like, "What? Like, you're gonna make this your career? We're putting our future in your hands in this?" And it's amazing what God can do with so little. with such
absolutely.
With such.
I mean, that's a lot of faith right
Yeah.
there. I mean, to be able to take your family in your hands and go out on a leap of faith and do something that you haven't done before. Like, what are some of the methods that you use to get better at speaking?
I just started doing it. I think a big part of it is just no fear and just get out there and do it. I didn't go to Toastmasters. I just started speaking and doing it. Now, I would watch some videos. I watched some videos of various speakers and to see how they would craft stories or share their messages, and that helped a little bit. But it was really about reps. The more reps I did, the better I got. And over time, I got better. But I had a woman come see me speak, and she was in the event planning industry, and she's a friend of a friend. And she told my friend, like, he's not going to make it. He should just give up. And so I'm a testament that hard work and a lot of reps and a willingness to learn and grow and no fear and just going out to do it, that's the key. My wife said, I give you a lot of credit. You were speaking when you weren't good, and you just did it. And I also think when you're passionate about the message, like when I first started speaking, it was what I believed to be true. I was sharing my thoughts and beliefs. Now it's what I know to be true. So I have so much conviction because I've seen it work now of what I've been sharing over the last 11, 12 years. And so now I have even more conviction, more confidence in it, I think. So you see the recent videos now, but you don't see all those old videos when I was not as confident. I wasn't as sure of myself. But
do you still get nervous?
Oh, of course. Every talk, it still feels like game day. Because as a former athlete, you always wonder, am I going to have it today? Like, is this going to be the day that I don't have it? There's always that little fear that says, I might not have it today. And so it's that fear that it's not going to go well, or the audience is going to be receptive, or you're just not going to have it. So every moment before a talk is filled with a little anxiety, a little bit of fear. And then once I get going, then it's about that flow of just getting going and sharing the message. But I always tell people, when you feel that fear, know that you have a gift to share. You have an obligation to share it to help others. So it's not about you, it's about them, and give them that gift to help them.
I love that. And another thing that I love is the Energy Bus, one of your best-selling books. You said before that it was easy to write the Energy Bus because the main character, George, is based on you. How many people do you think can relate to him and your story?
Well, I would say a lot, because a lot of people have read the book, and I think it's approaching 2 million copies sold now, when it was rejected by 30 publishers in the beginning. So I think people have resonated with that story because George is someone they can resonate. It was based on me. People think I'm Mr. Positive, right? They don't even know me a lot of times, and they're like, oh, I hate that guy because he must be Mr. Positive. And as they get to know me, they realize, no, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was born in a very blue-collar family. I've worked really hard to get to where I am. I've overcome a lot of adversity and a lot of challenges, and I am naturally negative, and I have to work to become a more positive person. I still have to work at it every day because I'm not naturally positive. And so I think a lot of people aren't naturally positive. We all struggle with negativity. And so it's something that we can all resonate with. And I think that's why this book is so appealing and continues to spread. What
part in the book is actually true? Like, is there anything in there that George's story actually happened to you in your life?
Well, I didn't get on a bus or anything like that. But what's true is the family chaos. What's true is that his wife almost leaves him. What's true is that he goes from negative to positive. That's my journey. That's what's true. The principles are true. The concepts are true. The thank you walk he goes on, that's something I do every day. Celebrating his successes, that's what I do. So a lot of it is true in that sense. The story of getting on the bus and meeting the bus driver, that's not true. But I did meet a real bus driver who inspired me and this story. And I thought, oh, it'd be really cool to write a story about a bus driver who changes the passenger's life. And that's true.
So you also have talked about your conversion to Christianity. How much has that impacted your life so far?
I don't really consider it a conversion. I mean, it's really more of a relationship than anything. It's not religion to me. So it's not like I converted religions. You know, my mom was Jewish. My dad was Catholic, Italian, New York cop. And so he raised me since I was 5. He's technically my stepfather, but he's my dad. He raised me. So grew up Jewish. We celebrated Christmas. Never went to church. Never went to temple. And after college, I was a seeker, just someone seeking spirituality, trying to be more positive, trying to, get this worry and anxiousness out of my life that I always seem to feel. A lot of people feel that. Went on the self-development discovery to be my superior self, right? To be my best self. And then during this whole time of losing my job, opening the Moe's, almost bankrupt, all that led to a cry out, led to faith. And so for me, that's where I found my faith. And that's been everything. That has changed everything. I mean, it is very real. I know a lot of people don't believe in God. A lot of people don't believe in Jesus. For me, it's been very real. It has changed my life. I meet a lot of people where it has changed their lives. Like it's happened to enough people that there has to be something there. It's just not some fake thing. And I think because people haven't experienced it themselves, they don't understand it. And I was like that. I didn't understand it because I never experienced it. But once I've experienced, I had that encounter where I'm meditating, Buddhist meditation, and a glowing cross comes in. I start to see that. My life starts to change. I surrender. I ask God for forgiveness. I ask Jesus to take my burden and pain. And everything just starts to fade away. And I finally find peace and joy inside. And I start writing these books, in 3.5 weeks that I never wrote before. And all of a sudden, these books are now flowing out of me. And I've written 18 books since. And again, I'm not here to preach religion to anyone. Not a religion. And I tell people Jesus did not come to establish, a religion. He came to bring you love into your heart and to transform your heart from the inside out, to take your burden and pain so you can live with new life and joy and have a great life. And who can argue with that?
I definitely can. I recently converted to Catholicism. Again, I guess it's not really converting. I was a Methodist before. Now I'm a Catholic. Still same beliefs, believe in Jesus. And the more your faith, more that you put into your faith, the more that you return, especially with the positivity. And I'm not naturally positive, like you said. What are some methods that I can use or do to keep that positive mindset?
I think a thank you walk every day is so key because you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. So if you're feeling grateful, if you're feeling blessed, you won't feel stressed. So doing that walk on a daily basis of walking and practice gratitude, it creates a fertile mind that is ready for success. It's the garden of your mind, and you're weeding the negative, feeding the positive, and over time you create an amazing and magnificent mind. So I think that is one thing you can do. I think your perspective is everything. Looking at what you get to do, not what you have to do. So you see life as a gift, not an obligation. We don't have to do this. We get to do this. I think celebrating your successes on a daily basis is key. Like, hey, what were the small wins we had today? Focus on the small wins. Celebrate those, and you'll have more big wins. So it's all about the small things that we can appreciate. I believe when you appreciate, you elevate. We can transform fear into faith every day. I think just that perspective of looking at fear of faith. And so many people go through life with fear. But remember, love casts out fear. Simple antidote to the fear you have is to focus on love instead of fear. Because if you love it, you won't fear it. We don't run into burning buildings because of fear. People do it to save lives out of love. Love is more powerful than fear. So whenever that fear comes in, just focus on the love that you have, and the fear will dissipate. That's what happened to me writing The Carpenter. I was so full of fear, I couldn't write this book. And I realized that it was gripping me. And I woke up one morning with this idea of love instead of fear, and that love casts out fear. And I said, oh, all I have to do is focus on the reader. I just have to focus on loving them and loving the process of writing, just like I did when I wrote The Energy Bus. Get back to that love. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about if people think it's a piece of junk. Just do it. And I did it. And man, I wrote it in 2.5 weeks, filled with love, made it into the story. And now I share with a lot of professional athletes when I know that they're in fear, college athletes, you name it, corporate people. I share this message with them. It's powerful.
You speak to a lot of famous people. You speak to athletes, like you said. Is there a difference? I mean, is there a difference with regular people as opposed to athletes and famous people with their worries in life?
No, it's just that with famous people, more people see their lives. They see the display of their lives. But there's really no difference, because what I have found working with very successful athletes and coaches is they're just like you and me. We all have problems. People probably think when they look at me and see my stuff on social media, if they've never met me, they're like, oh, that guy's probably got the perfect life. They don't realize I got issues. Everyone has issues. Everyone has family challenges. Everyone is dealing with their own internal struggles. So we all have that. It's part of being human. So everybody, no matter how famous they are or not, they're a human being. They have struggles. They deal with fear. They deal with pain. They have things that need to be healed. They have wounds that need to be healed and reconciled. They need people that they need to forgive. So everybody has these challenges. So I would say there's no difference. It's just like when I work with a head football coach now, and he gets fired, Well, now millions of people see that this coach was fired. They all watch the firing. In the real world, people don't watch you get fired. So I'd say that's different.
That is tough. Yeah, I can't imagine putting all that out to the public. But like looking back on your journey, on your career, all your success, like what is one thing that you would do differently?
Nothing. I wouldn't do anything different. I made mistakes along the way. I don't know. I think everything leads you to where you are. So the mistakes, the failures, the adversity, the challenges, not sure I would do anything differently. I would be the person I am now. I would love to go back and be the person I am now because I was not the greatest person in the world. I wasn't a bad person, but I know I'm a much better person now than I was then. So the goal in life is to always get better every day. I'm glad I'm not who I was. I'm thankful for where I am, but I'm excited about who I'm becoming. That's the way I look at it.
What motivates you right now to go out and give the talks and write new books? Like, what is your motivation?
Yeah, it's purpose. It's never settling. It's not being complacent. It's always wanting to get better, always striving to improve, give better talks, improve, connect with people more, reach more people. Every year I pick a word for the year, and my word is expand. I want to expand my influence to reach more people, to impact more people. I want to expand my capacity to do all that I'm doing. I'm excited about this training program we have now. It's the Power of Positive Leadership Training, and I realize I got to multiply myself. I can't go everywhere. So I am excited about developing leaders through this training program that will become better leaders and positive leaders and be able to then help others become positive leaders. So we're going to have a ripple effect and share this message, around the world. So what motivates me is, okay, we can equip millions of leaders in the future. And to me, that's what I'm excited about. Writing a few more books, developing this training program. We have a Power of a Positive Team consulting model now, helping teams become stronger teams and doing that. And really, I know that's for the next 20, 30 years of my life, God willing, that's what I want to focus on. Developing leaders, building strong teams, continuing to write and speak, and continue to make a difference. I got an email today from a young man who was really struggling with his life. He read a few of my books, said he thought about committing suicide, and after reading the books, he's more positive than ever, and he just wanted to thank me for changing his life. Again, I'm not taking credit, but when you read those kind of emails, that's your why. That's what keeps you going. And my team, when we see those emails come in, we always email like, that's what it's all about. Like, let's remember this. This is why we're here. It's not, look, I'm going to die one day. It doesn't matter how much I accumulate. It doesn't matter where I live. It doesn't matter the house I build. It doesn't matter any of that. What matters is the difference I make in the lives that I touch. And to me, that's everything.
That's powerful. So how can people connect with you, Mr. Jon Gordon?
JonGordon.com, JonGordon.com is my website, but I'm on Twitter at JonGordon11, Jon Gordon 11, and then Instagram, same thing, at JonGordon 11. Facebook, my Facebook page is on there. And, I am responsive on social media. So people do want to reach out. I do respond.
Awesome. So just to wrap things up, I kind of want to give you a scenario. Like I'm the listener right now listening to this podcast. I need you, Mr. Jon Gordon, to kind of give me like a little bit of a inspirational chat. Like I am thinking about pursuing something in my life that kind of makes me nervous. I'm scared to do it. I am down on my luck. Maybe I'm bankrupt. Maybe I'm facing divorce. I need that positive reinforcement. What would you say?
First, I'd say go to my website and download our free 7-step plan. So we got a free 7-step plan. I'm not trying to make money off you. Just go there, download this 7-step plan, and you got to apply the principles. I can tell you something inspirational. I can tell you something motivational, and you might be fired up today. But what's going to keep you going? Well, it's a plan, and it's ideas, and it's practices that you can implement today that will help you be better tomorrow. So I think that 7-step plan is key. And then I would just try to shift your perspective from fear to love, as we talked about. Focus on what you love. Focus on why you do what you do, whatever it is. What is your why? We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. And then lastly, I would remind you that we don't create our world outside in. We create it inside out. So don't blame the economy. Don't blame the circumstances. Don't blame the environment around you. Know that you can transform any environment you're in. You could be a carrot. When you put that into hot water, it softens, right? You could be like the carrot that softens from its environment. You could be like an egg that gets hardened by its environment. So you can be hardened by your conditions. Or you could be like the coffee bean. When put into that hot water, it transforms the water into coffee. And you can transform every environment you're in by knowing that you are a coffee bean. And that's actually my next book coming out. Very small little book. Going to be illustrated with pictures and a very short story about just being the coffee bean. Doing it with a friend of mine, Damon West, who got out of jail a few years ago. And he's been speaking to Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, and transformed his life, transforming lives around him when someone told him this coffee bean story. And he has become the coffee bean. And so I've seen the change and the difference he's making in people's lives. And I said, hey, we need to do this together. And we are. So if he can do it and be an incredible member of society now after what he's been through and the mistakes he had drug problems and he got caught stealing because of trying to make money from trying to get money to buy more drugs. And so he's put in jail. And to come out of that now and to be a person who serves and cares about others and wants to make a difference, it's amazing what you can do with your life.
I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. You truly are an inspiration to me, as well as my audience. This is literally a dream for me because I love your books. I love what you stand for. I am a positive warrior. I always try to be positive in wherever I'm at. And I want to say thank you for coming on Your Superior Self.
Thanks so much. I got my Stay Positive shirt right now. So I'm just saying, hey, stay positive. I appreciate it.
That was an awesome interview. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to say thank you to Jon Gordon for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us today. I also want to say thank you to you, the listener. If this is your first time listening to the show, please hit subscribe and leave a rating and a review wherever you get your podcasts from. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can check me out at tdowns80 and on Twitter at downstrey. We have a Facebook group that's over at Your Superior Self on Facebook, and you can follow me as well over there at Trey Downs, DOWNES. Man, that was awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really got a ton of value out of that interview, and I'm stoked about the next couple of weeks. We have a ton of great guests coming on the show. I have a very interesting interview coming up with JJ Virgin, which I'm very excited about. And I'm just excited about where the show's going. And I want to thank you guys. You guys are my support. You guys are the reason why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to put some positivity back in the world, and you guys are making that happen for me. So thank you guys so much for everything that you do for the show. I couldn't do any of this without you. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you later.